Hey guys, Wave 2 Super Mario Brothers movie. And some Sonic. Let's do it. What's up? So I can't say this is going to surprise anybody, right? But I grew up during the Nintendo Sega Genesis frickin' console war. Everybody chose a side. You were Sonic or you were Mario. So to say that this holds a special place in my heart is an understatement. And I loved the Mario movie. I mean, I thought that movie was fantastic. It was everything I wanted it to be. Not the original Mario movie, the new one, the Super Mario Brothers animated movie. I loved it. Thought it was absolutely fantastic. And the last two Sonic movies have been really spectacular. I gotta say, it is crazy to me to look at video games and see how far we've come. Because we've made ridiculous advances, whether we want to admit it or not sometimes. And I think that's why I'm willing to forgive a lot as well. I remember what games were, and so sometimes I could play a game that a lot of people will sit there and be like, oh, it's this or that, or it's not really that good, or blah, 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 the graphics, and I'm like, yeah. To me, everything looks good now. It's very rare to come across a game in the modern landscape where I'm like, it doesn't look good. Like, it's just rare. Sure, maybe I can call out the fact that something still looks like a PlayStation 2 game when it's out today. But then again, I play Neverwinter, and that's almost PlayStation 2 level graphics, maybe a little bit better. It seems like it sometimes anyway. So you get where I'm coming with this. Games are crazy if you've lived the perspective as long as we have. And to me, the two biggest icons were Mario and Sonic. Well, I completed the entire wave of Wave 1 from the Mario movie figures. Wave 2 came out. It featured Tanuki, Peach, Comic, and one more person, Cat Mario. It did not have a big deluxe figure this time, as the last wave consisted of Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, and a big giant deluxe Bowser. As far as I'm aware, there's no big deluxe figure yet in that current wave. So, I got them. And these have been out for a while now. I was kind of hoping that maybe a deluxe would show up and I get them all or whatever, but they all went on sale and I just decided to buy them. All but one. This is another line that I cherry pick. I could have got Cat Mario. But Cat Mario does nothing for me. He's not something I grew up with. He's not something that excites me. He's not something that blows my mind or makes it worth it for me. It's just not, it's not going to happen. He's fine. The two games that he is in, he's fine. But he doesn't blow my mind by any means whatsoever. He's not one of my favorite suits. My favorite power-up used to be the frog suit. Then I started really liking the Hammer Mario years ago. And Tanuki has been one of those things since Super Mario Bros. 3 that just I've always loved. If they released a Raccoon Mario from this, I'd get it. If they release her motorcycle for her size figure, I'll get it. Little things like that I'm still very interested in to see if this line goes any further and we get more stuff. But since I've been collecting this line, I'm skipping Cat Mario, and then it hit me, it would be really cool to have a Sonic to go alongside the Mario. So far out there, I have a Link, I have a Zelda, I have all the Mario figures that were currently released, I have these three, and I didn't have a Sonic. So I saw a couple of Sonics, and I decided finally to pull the trigger. So today, we're going over Jakks. I believe this company was Jakks Pacific. Yes, it is. Jakks Pacific. We're going to check out Tanuki Mario, Bike Rider Peach, Comic, newer Sonic, and classic Sonic. so they can stand alongside the Mario, and I can feel like I have the console wars standing on the shelf. To me, this is really cool. Let's get into this, because there's a lot in this one. Okay, so let's start out at the simplest of areas here. Let's check out the Jakks Pacific Sonic. Now, I don't know if this is part of a very specific collection, but as you can tell, there we go. Right? There is an accessory. It's a tin coin. That's kind of cool. This is a very classic card. And with it being a retro card design, this is once again one of those things that for in-box collectors, this is really solid. Like, I don't think you would have any problem putting this on your shelf. You can see exactly what you bought. It's fantastic. It's got a good window. It's a very big, solid bubble. Everything about it is great. Really. Turning it around, we see that they have articulation, so they'll show you what we get, and it shows the others in the line. There's Shadow, there's Knuckles, there's Blaze, there's Sonic. Do I want these? Arguable. I have Sonic. I wouldn't mind Knuckles. He's something from my childhood that I really, really, really liked. That's a possibility. I could very well want Knuckles. By the time I was getting out of Sonic, Shadow wasn't a thing yet. So that gives you an idea of just how far back I jumped out. And then I've been back in and out periodically here and there. Sometimes I show up and I'm like, oh man, Sonic is awesome. I stick mainly to the 2D games and Shadow hasn't really been a thing. I want to say maybe I had some experience with him in Sonic Advanced, but I can't remember. I cannot remember. I can't guarantee it. So I'm just gonna say that I don't have a lot of official time with Shadow. Do I want him? Arguably, I might. He does look really cool. He's very much that edgelord, other Sonic character, like the dark version of the character. But I might want him. He's cool. Blaze, I have zero identification with. I don't recognize it, I don't know it, I don't care. But, there we go. We're dealing with 11 points of articulation. It's a solid box, but you know me. I'm going to open it, so this is all going in the trash. But I figured I'd talk about it. Next, this Sonic right here, same idea. Jakks seemed to stick with the same card. I really like this accessory here. That's going to be something that I'm looking forward to checking out. On the back here, 11-point articulation. Looks like in this current run, we have a dude named Jet. I don't know him. We have Super Silver. I don't know him. We have the Sonic that I grew up with specifically. And we have Tails. Would I like Tails? Yes. So there are still a couple of these that I feel like would be a benefit to have on my gaming shelf. So we're not done with this line. I think I will be hunting down at least one character from this set here, and at least two characters from this set here. Now, all of that out of the way, we've talked about these boxes before, so I don't really necessarily want to stand here and go into it. These would be good for open box collectors, and on the back, they've got a picture. It's not an actual art rendering, it's very much a picture of the toy. On the side, same kind of concept. On the side, same kind of concept. Pretty good boxes for what they are, but not the kind of boxes where I would be like, oh man, you almost want to keep these. They're just really solid boxes that are good for in-box collectors, and you don't really necessarily feel like you're losing something if you tear these boxes open, being the kind of collector that I am. And, since that's the kind of collector that I am, let's open all of this. Let's start with this Sonic right here. And right off the bat, I have a problem. He's very top-heavy, which I guess I should have seen coming, but it's a real problem. And he does not come with a stand. I'm trying here. I really am. Let me see if I can't kind of get him leaning forward, maybe, like way forward. Maybe if I pick this foot up and offer him something like a back, you know what I'm talking about? I can kind of get him like that, right? He's going to be tough to stand in any way that you slice it. He came with this little thing. That's kind of cool, I guess. I don't care. He's what I wanted. And I already can tell that even for $10, if the figure is unbalanced, we have a problem. We may have needed to make his body a little bit bigger, or find a form of counterbalance. Or if he would have come with a stand that looked like the running figure 8 or something like that, maybe you could have let it go a little bit, but this is a legit problem. He should not have this kind of trouble standing, and if he does, there should have been a fix for it, like Jakks did with Toad, where they gave him the backpack and there was a way to address it. Because he's rough to stand. I'm sure that if I mess around with it, I can figure it out. But yes, this Sonic, I specifically remember, this Sonic for me came into existence around Sonic Advance. This is when they kind of thinned him up and everything like that, and he had a very specific look about him, and I remember that. I like the face. I think that's really good. I think it's well done. He's got all the spikes and everything like that, his quills and all that. His legs are super skinny. He can kind of get like this. He can go forward, do like a straight jump or a kick. His arms don't have a bend here. They have gloves that turn. And then he can kind of T-pose, but he can't because his arms are stuck in the elbow bend position that he came in. And so you are going to deal with that if you buy something like him. He's a rough figure. He's cool, but he's rough. He's going to cause some real problems in terms of getting him on the shelf and making him stand up. There, I kind of got him like right here. Oh man, he really does not want to cooperate with me. Like, it's a real problem. Anyways, that's this Sonic. Is it good? I would say the fact that he can't stand up, that makes him close to being not good, of course. He has problems. Problems I will not deny. Is he cool? Sure. But since he's going to take legit hard effort to get him on the shelf in a way where he will stay, that's a legit problem. Good thing he was only $10. This is what the other Sonic came with, and this is cool because this is very much something from my childhood. This was the speed boost. You jumped on it, it went boop or whatever, and then like you got the speed boost and it was cool. I kind of really do like this. This is going to be cool. This would be like getting a question mark block, which I could have got with the cat, but I'm not buying the cat for the question mark block. And here's my Sonic. That's the Sonic that I grew up with. Right there, this little potbelly, funny-looking Sonic, that's who I had. When I was growing up, that was Sonic. And it's funny how we look at this Sonic and we're like, yeah, he had attitude and everything like that. And I look at him now, and it's kind of goofy that this is what we thought had attitude over Mario, which really goes to show just how Mario was perceived. That this goofy little thing right here was considered the attitude version. That he had the tude, and he was fast, and he was crude, and like, it's funny when I look back on it that this dude was considered to be cooler, at least visually cooler, and maybe even in terms of the way that he would react to things like that, and Chili Dogs this and everything. You know, I'm sure the cartoons play into that, but there was an attitude in the original Sonic that made you feel like this dude was somehow cooler than Mario. That's not talking about the games. That's not saying that Mario was a worse game, because one could very much argue that the original Sonics still don't add up to being the kind of game that Super Mario World was. I mean, but we're arguing a very different thing here. But this was my Sonic. It does seem like he stands easier. That's good. I wish he could stand up a little better. There's not much you can do. I can move his legs. He has the same kind of movement ability that the other Sonic had. His arms are always stuck in this little thing here, so it's kind of working. I'm trying to, I got to get his feet, way out, like that, to get him to stand up. I don't necessarily like that his feet have to be way out like that, but I mean, if he'll stand on the shelf, that's at least a benefit, right? They both had these gripping hands, which I don't know what they would ever grip, but they've got them. Huh. Either way, that Sonic is cool to have on the shelf just because it's a nostalgia trip, and that's it. This Sonic is cool to have on the shelf because he's legit cool. I mean, you want to talk attitude, when they did the Game Boy Advance game and they remodeled Sonic, at least as far as I'm concerned, that's when the main remodel happened for me. That is cooler looking than this, one could argue. I guess this is subjective. You could say this one is cooler, and maybe if you, whatever speaks to you is whatever speaks to you. But this guy is cooler looking than this guy, but this guy's the one I grew up with. Both of them together at $10 a piece. They're cheap enough figures that I'm willing to forgive flaws. And I'm willing to have them on the gaming shelf, and I think they will be cool. His little ring thing I don't care about. This I'll actually keep. It's Mario time. Tanuki! Awesome. So awesome. It's so cool to have a Tanuki Mario. Like, it is legit awesome to have a Tanuki Mario. He comes with the leaf, so he's got the power-up right here. It's pretty good. It's a decent little sculpt. I mean, it's very simple, but it's exactly what it's supposed to be. Most Mario stuff is simple, so it actually translates very easily into toys without having to get too crazy. So that's awesome right off the bat. He is the movie Mario, which is great because this is the line that I'm specifically focusing on because they'll all look right on the shelf together because they'll all be about the same kind of art design. Let's see. His head does turn all the way around. He doesn't really look up. He doesn't look down. You could call that a flaw, but I don't think I'm too worried about it, in all honesty. He's got a little sidekick right here for his hardcore Bruce Mario. He's got his little leg movement right here. He's got foot movement. He doesn't really, there's no tilt here, but it is a big, like, costume thing, too, so it almost adds to what it is. I mean, with it being like a big old giant fursuit, like, how do I put this, mascot type of thing. It actually doesn't bother me. He's got the tail right here. There's a lot of decent little texture here that makes it kind of like teddy bear fur, almost, is the best way I can explain it. It's done all the way around, so it fits, it looks right, is what I'm trying to say. He's got the turn right here, so he can kind of whip the tail. He doesn't actually have any kind of action feature or anything like that. He's got his deal that goes, he's got the elbow movement right here, which is pretty solid. He's got a T-pose thing that he can run, goes all the way around. He's got good movement. His hand turns. He'll do just fine for what we need him to do, right? Until I got here to this arm, and I don't know what's happening here. You can see right here, we got bins, right? You can see it. Why is this arm different? Did I get a mess up? Like, and look, I'm looking for it. You see me looking for it. I can't find the bend. I mean, it will bend, but unlike this, where see how it goes and it's fine and it's all like right, this one doesn't, I don't understand, but look. See? There, and I got it. I mean, it'll bend. It wants to be resistant, and I can't understand why the joint is different on this arm than it is on the other arm. No, there it is. Now I can start seeing it. It's almost like I'm breaking it out. Now it's starting to, now it's there. Okay, so it's just that it wasn't broken for whatever reason. This one, but it seems different, even now, right? You see this one? You see this one? I mean, I can tell now that I've bent it a couple times, I can see the little thing in there. But for a little while there, I couldn't see it. It was kind of wild. But whatever. Hey, if he works, he works. So whatever. I'm past that. So no real issues. I like the thing he came with. He can't really hold it, I guess. I mean, because he doesn't have the gripping hand where he could like put the stem in or whatever. But I mean, I guess if he really wanted to, he could hold the leaf like this or something. I don't think it's going to matter in the long run. But there we go. Mario. Not bad. Tanuki Mario. He'll fit. He'll look great along with the other characters that I've got so far. And because I wasn't expecting much, I'm not disappointed by things that I should probably, like, if I wanted to nitpick, I could call things out here. But why? You know what I mean? We're not talking about big, huge figures here. We're talking about Mario figures. They pretty much got to have enough articulation for them to work, and they got to represent the character. And it does both of those things well enough that it doesn't bother me that he's not perfect, I guess, is the way that I'm saying it. I like these toys for what they are, but I'm willing to overlook a lot of issues at $20, which is the reason everybody's real concerned about the McFarlane line move. Because if those figures go to 40 on a standard, you're no longer going to overlook these issues. Here, you will. There is a difference. But I'm happy with him. At $20, I'm okay with him. So next we have Kamek. At least I believe that's how his name is said. He comes with his wand, which is cool because that's like a big part of his character in general. At least for me. Mario characters are very simple. I basically know them from the video games. So, he's got arms that move like this. He's got the cloak here. His arms do go up into a T-pose a bit, from what it's worth. And they go back down. There's not a huge amount of movement here, but there's not because the cloak is kind of in his way. The hands turn, which is solid. The head goes all the way around. It does not look down at all. Kind of, you can get an up out of it, but it's very rough. He has feet, but as you can see, this is all just like a flat thing. They don't turn, they don't move. There almost wasn't even a reason to sculpt the feet, in all honesty. It maybe would have just worked just as well if you just would have had this and maybe even saved the plastic. I mean, it doesn't move. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm not sure why they went through the trouble. He's a bit of a hunchback, and there's not a lot you could do about it, nor do I think there's anything we're supposed to do about it. I mean, that is what he is. He's a turtle man thing. He's like a magic turtle man. Does this actually fit in his hand? Well enough. It's not perfect. I wish that it had a tighter fit. He does look good for what it's worth, but he's not going to blow your mind either. In all honesty, this is again one of those things where you know what you were buying. I would argue that we're reaching a point where the $20 across the board, we're letting certain things go because it's considered to be a fairly cheap character now, figure in general. But this is a $10 figure. This, from Jakks Pacific, I would tell you is no different than the Mario figures that are released in the video game line, not the movie line. The movie line holds a $20 price tag. The other one holds like a $10 to a $12 price tag, and they're more video game-esque. This is considered movie-esque, and I'm not 100% sure what it is that justifies it, except for the fact that it's part of the same line. My experience with this character right here is Yoshi's Island. That's where I know him the most. I didn't really play any of the Paper Marios or anything like that, so I didn't have that experience. I knew him from Yoshi's Island, and having this figure actually makes me want a Yoshi. Like, I hope they make a Yoshi for this line that comes with a baby Yoshi. Sorry, a baby Yoshi. That would just be an egg. A baby Mario. That would be cool. Because then it would, for me, it would be perfect. Because that's what this guy is for me, is he's literally that guy. He was the bad guy for that game. He would fly in and go, and he would fly in on his little thing or whatever, on his broomstick. He'd come in and he'd be like, waka 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 waka, and then he'd like go across the screen, pew pew pew, and then it would like rain down, and then like the bad guy would grow and turn into what you were gonna fight. And so now, let's move on to what I'm hoping is the star of Wave 2. And so now we move on to Princess Peach. This is the one that I was hoping would be the star of what I bought. Because Princess Peach, and there's an actual video talking all about this, Princess Peach is a character that I like a lot. I use her in almost every single game. I have a bit of a personal attachment to her, and there's an entire story behind that called Why I Play as Princess Peach. It'll be up in the annotations if you're actually interested in that, because there's an entire actual story as to my relationship with why I like Princess Peach in general. I am noticing that her feet, she's got the female figure problem. She doesn't want to stand. The helmet is heavy. Nintendo character, she's got a big head. And her feet, it almost seems like her feet are wrong. It's hard to explain, but it almost seems like they're not right. Like they're backwards or something. Do I have two of the same foot? Is that what's going on? Is this one not counterbalancing? Because it has no... I don't know. It's really hard for me to tell. I'm having a lot of trouble here. She will not... Did I get her? I got her, but I don't... No, I was going to say, there's no way that's stable. It almost seems like her feet... I don't think so. Maybe I'm imagining it. But this foot seems to be giving me problems. It almost seems like I can get... There's this one's on the ground now. This one's... Maybe it's something like... I don't know. I cannot get her to stand. That's a problem. That's a real problem. That's two figures in the second wave that don't stand well. She comes with the blue shell, which I thought was really cool. But it also doesn't, like... She can't hold it. It won't, like... I don't know. It's cool, but it's got its own problems, too. In terms of the sculpt, it's solid. She's got decent arm movement here, especially compared to the first Peach that we had. The wrist spins all the way around. This comes up and moves. She's got a twist here. She's got thigh movement all the way around. She's got her knee, but it's only single. It only goes back about that far. Her feet do go out and up. There's a little bit of swivel, but it's very tame. It's very tame swivel. And then her ankle will turn all the way around. Her helmet, she's got a bit of a thing going on here. She can't really look. That's about the range we have on the nod. And her head cannot go all the way around because her hair actually gets in the way. The helmet does not come off. I honestly probably would have preferred to be rid of this, even though this is really cool, and get a second head sculpt that would have been without the helmet. And then makes me wonder, if I took this head off, could I put the Princess Peach head on here? I don't know. Maybe if the head is the same, I don't know. Maybe you can, but she's downstairs right now, so I don't have her right now. So yeah, I don't know. This is a real problem with the feet, though. Oh, I got her. Okay. I had to play with her a lot to get her to stand up. But she does balance well. That foot is a problem. I don't know if mine is just funny, or I got this weird feeling like I have two left feet. Like, I honestly think that could be something that's happening, is I think I might have two left feet, which means I kind of got to turn this foot in to kind of get it to flatten out. I don't like that, of course. What I'm hoping is they release a bike for her in this scale, because that's what I want. This is who I use when I play Mario Kart. So if I could use her and put her on the bike, she wouldn't have to stand up anyway. That's two characters in this line that don't stand up. That's rough. Does she got the butt? It's okay. It's okay. Oh, man. No, she looks like she would... I don't know. I almost wonder if the movement would hamper her. I'd like to think she could sit on the bike. Her movement seems decent, but this is where this toy line is starting to show its limitations quite substantially, is in stuff like this. And I waited for this character. Biker Peach was one that I specifically wanted because that is specifically what I use in Mario Kart. I would say far from perfect. For what it's worth, I put about $60 into Wave 2. I didn't buy the other Mario, Cat Mario. These, and I've been fairly impressed with Jakks. I got a decent Link. I got a decent Zelda. I liked the first wave of these figures, these movie figures. The second wave, not as impressive. The star of this current wave was definitely Tanuki Mario. And even he has his issues. I don't expect way too much out of these figures. I don't. At $20, they've pretty much been what I expected them to be. And because I'm not going to overpose them, once they go on the shelf, they'll pretty much go on the shelf as what they go on the shelf as. So I'm not flipping out in any way, but I will say, as I've mentioned many times, $20 spent here is $20 you can't spend here. And so as you reach this point, when you have to start deciding where you're going to put your money, there are better $20 figures. The big selling point here is Nintendo. And that's it. I think these figures need a little more time in the oven. I think that the ones that work. The Wave 1, I liked all of it. Everything was within my expectation. I liked Luigi, I liked Mario, I liked Peach, I liked Toad, I loved Bowser. Bowser's the absolute star of Wave 1. Of Wave 2, I'm okay with Comic because, like, what was I expecting? Kind of like Toad. I didn't have high expectations. I just need him to work. He works. He will sit on the shelf on my Nintendo display and he will look just fine. I really won't have an issue. She's a problem. I have her sitting there, but she's a problem. She is a rough figure. She can't support her own weight. Her head literally makes her fall all over the place. They didn't do anything, like she doesn't come with a stand or anything in order to help her. She doesn't have a bike. I don't know that she'd fit the bike well, even if she had it, because her posing it feels very limited to what you would expect it to be. I expected her to move better than any other figure in the line. Because, one, she was a female buck, so there wasn't a whole lot of stuff in her way. Because they're not going to go crazy in terms of her body and things like that. I'm not being ridiculous, but like she's not going to get in her way. Like, I expected her at $20 to be more like, I guess, a G.I. Joe. I was expecting a little more out of her arms, like maybe double jointed, and that's what I mean by she wasn't going to get in her way. I thought this would be like a double joint and her hand would come all the way up and she could have like touched her helmet. Like she can't even really get to her own visor or whatever, so you can't like do a thing like that. Her shoulder pads get in her way. She can't lift her arms up all the way. She's got this turn, which is fine, and she's got the splits and everything, which is fine. So you'd think that would be good, but then the ball joints in her legs kind of work against her, and her feet, I don't know if I just got unlucky and got two wrong, like two of the same foot. That's my guess. Even looking at this, they seem like they're the same foot. I think, maybe not. Or maybe just this foot just isn't sculpted the same way, as this one, and it causes issues. I don't know. She can't stand up, and her joints feel loose. So like when I do stand her up, her knees don't really support her. So the best I found is, luckily Sonic came with that boot thing, the speed boost. So I found that if I set her upright in like kind of like a sitting position, she could sit on that, and it's kind of cool and it works. She's a disappointment. That's a shame. Now the two Sonics that I got, as you could see, I got him to stand up. And no, he's actually not leaning on this box. I got him to stand up. I had to mess with him for a while. You kind of like have to put this foot as like a base, and use this foot as like a kickstand in the back. So you kind of like angle his leg up so he looks like he's walking or just starting to run, and he'll stand. I've added some new Nintendo figures to the shelf. Not a home run this time. In fact, if I'm being honest, completely honest with myself, and that's what this channel is about, is the discussion of our fandom, collecting. This is the definition of $20 here, can't put $20 there. This entire wave cost me, and I got this all on sale, mind you, so this isn't 100% proof on the pricing. Because I actually got these guys at about $10 a piece. They were marked down on some sort of clearance that was happening right after Christmas. And that was awesome. So I didn't pay full price. I got $10 across the board on all of these. But that's still 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And at 50 bucks, I could have taken that 50 bucks and I could have put it towards the Super Scroll Fantastic Four line, which is going to require real money. Because like Doom is going for like $70 alone. So you see where I'm coming from here? I like this. But this is one of the few times recently that I've bought something that I kind of have to sit here and go, was it good? I think for the most part it is. Once it goes on the shelf and it goes alongside all the other Nintendo stuff, I'll be fine with it. But overall, these aren't great figures. Wave 2 is disappointing compared to Wave 1. And the two Sonics, they're fine. They could be better, but they're fine. At $10, they're fine. Pretty cool little figures to have. Either way, added some Nintendo, added some Sega to the shelf, and for the most part, I'm happy with it. These aren't toys that are going to like immediately go into my sales pile. They will make the shelf. But they barely made it this time. At least some of them. Later on, guys.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.